Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. I'm still in the I'm in the Ramadan mood now. Okay, yeah, we are live, Mr. Kaswell. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Today I have, as usual, here today with my co-host Joseph Coswell. We are going to talk about issues that affect our communities, mainly on women representation in politics and the bill that is going around, the draft bill that is going around, soliciting support from the party leaders. Last week they were in the bureau with Uncle Luceno and the executive. And also we'll talk about the TRRC and Fatou Bensouda, whether she should appear or not. That's my own suggestion anyway. And then Barrow's gaffe on NPP being death after next election if they cannot win or die. That's what he said, and the people's problem with it. We'll also talk about Gambia security as usual, and diversity and belonging in UDP. I'll let my co-host, Mr. Goswell, enter the show. Mr. Goswell.
Oh, good evening, everybody. I'm greeting as we're in the month of Ramadan. I hope you had a sacred and enjoyable Qadr. And I also welcome my Christian colleagues who celebrate the 6th Sunday after Easter. Come Thursday, we will be celebrating the Ascension. So in that aspect of religious diversity, this week is quite important because this could be the end of Ramadan, and it could also be on Thursday, the Feast of the Ascension, when we believe that Jesus ascended to heaven. So after being resurrected, stayed with the disciples, appeared before disciples, and then later ascended to heaven. In the Islamic world, this week should be the end of Ramadan after spending a month fasting and giving and abstaining from a lot of things. It's more of a joyous occasion for them, and I also wish them happy Korite in advance. Now, to my other friends, I say welcome, and today we have so many things to talk about. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Goswell. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Ramadan Mubarak, everyone. Ramadan Mubarak. It's been a great week for the Muslims, and as Mr. Goswell said, a great week for the Christians as well. But on behalf of all the Muslims, I say thank you to him for the great wishes. We had Laylatul Qadr, which is one of the holiest nights of in Islam, and we are in the month of Ramadan, so it's great. It's such a blessed time to pray. So I hope everyone joins me in praying that next year by this time we have Uncle Luceno Davo in the State House as the president of our republic, as well as UDP as the winning candidate, the winning party. With at least 75% of MPs in the House all being UDP, so that we can push this constitution through. So I hope that is foremost in our prayers during this holy month. Without much ado, I will talk about the women representation in politics. We all know that UDP is leading and has always been a pioneer in women politics, in representation of women in our politics. Currently, as Uncle Luceno Davo said, UDP is being run by women mostly. The national president is a woman, but I'll let Mr. Goswell come out to talk to us about what he thinks this bill can do to whether he is in support of it. But I think that it's going a wrong way. Just to put my point across, because I believe that there are so many people who are not represented equally in Parliament, and that's what we should focus on. We have our Christians who have very little, who have very little representation in parliament. We have our disabled people who have also very little I mean, I think only one person was nominated by the president. So I think the way forward is to nominate people, you know, minorities, minority tribes, minority religions, minority people like they're like women and disabled people, and not create super, as they call it, super constituencies where only women are allowed to contest in. I think that's a recipe for disaster. It's not well thought through, but they are pushing this across. What do you think, Mr. Boswell? What do you think? What's your take on this?
Well, you know, many years ago, 25 years or more ago, Halifa Saleh said, and I quote, we should not be imitators, but innovators. And in this aspect, what we have introduced today, or what we introduced, is an innovation which we should look at that other countries may emulate. Now, for far too long, our women have been confined to the politics of dancing, cooking, and singing. And that was the politics that we had in the Fourth Republic, with the greatest respect. Continued, you had so many yai companies. If you talk about, you don't hear them talk about by company, yai company, yai company, yai company. But when it comes to representation, they are not adequately represented in national office. Now, this is some form of positive or affirmative action to address the issue about underrepresentation pertaining to women. When you look at the population of the Gambia, I am made to believe that women there are more women than men. But when it comes to the balance of power, women are not involved, and we got so many educated women. Some of us, when we go to school, we talk about our primary school teachers, and when we talk about the women that used to teach us, we were only fond of saying, "Oh, Mrs. this, Mrs. that." We very rarely say Mr. So women have been in the spheres of influence, but we have not utilized them. And if we have to take the horse, take the bull by the horn, then definitely we should do it. And it comes to my point that what we've done is something that could be emulated by other African countries that are lagging behind in relation to women representation. Now, what I would have expected anybody should have done, there should have been an agreement that each political party will sign up to an accord whereby a particular amount of percentage of women will be put on their ballot papers to contest for parliamentary seats.
Thank you.
Now, it looks as if this cannot be fulfilled, and now we've used the legal framework by going through a constitutional amendment. Now,
but did they try to fulfill it? I mean, did they try that part?
Well, I am not sure. And I think because of the misconception with the draft constitution, that has caused a big problem for us. Because that could have, if that constitution was adopted as it should, then this problem of women going around canvassing to parliamentarians or political leaders for their backing wouldn't have been an issue.
But even the constitution, I think we have similar one. Was that the good way to go forward?
So the constitution, the draft constitution which we rejected, which even a female was involved that rejected it, or two of them, would have given them a degree of percentage in the in National Assembly. Now, for some reason, they voted against it. And they failed to realize that now they are at the mercy of men, party leaders, all of them are men, that would say, okay, yes, we are going to abide by the bill and let the bill go through. They failed to realize that there are few women in the National Assembly. So this is the issue now. From my own point of view, I have no problem about affirmative action or positive action, because we need to make sure they're represented. And women are not a minority. Women are the majority that have been marginalized for far too long.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So they're more than the men. But the problem is you rarely see them in the spheres of office. You see, okay, you had Speaker of the House, female, for the fourth time. It's the fourth time we have a female speaker. more Supreme Court judges, more attorney generals were female than before. But the problem is that enough? No, I don't think so. I think there should be more women involved in governance.
In politics in general.
And secondly, when you have a political party which hasn't signed up to an agreement whereby a certain percentage in their executive will be women, then that's a big issue. The United Democratic Party has an agreement that women will make up to 30-35%. That was the first Congress resolution they made.
Of the executive?
Yeah, 2 years ago, yes. And that's been reflected today. The president of the party is a female, National President Aji Yamindaw Yabo. The deputy leader is a female. The second national vice president is a female. So you have them all in UDP. So UDP, there's no problem. UDP at the moment when it comes to fulfilling our responsibility, our commitment for women empowerment. We did it up to the point that we even put up a female candidate in Banjul and she won.
Yeah, as mayor, yeah.
So there's no problem about UDP on that. It's all to the other political parties that still think that women should be confined to the business of singing, cooking, dancing, and forming companies, etc., etc. We have gone past that now. When we started this party, women were in the executive. So we've never had a problem with that. It's up to other political parties to follow suit.
So, yeah, absolutely. But
I agree with what Usain Udabo said, that the party is run by women, and he's right. Because when you look at it, this 2016 wouldn't have been a successful borough if the likes of Ayan Sukainaka, Ajiyam Mundawiabo, and Ajiyam Seka were not out with others canvassing for borough. They introduced borough to the political field, and they supported him up to the last minute, up to the very minute when he won.
Okay, your video is gone. I'm not sure why.
Yes. It's back on there.
Okay. Yeah, okay, great points there. But first of all, you talk about innovators. We should be innovators. Yeah, I mean, it's good to experiment things, especially when it comes to democracy and lead the way, as we did during the when we were removing dictatorship from our country. But should we not be correct innovators, not just for the innovation for the sake of it?
Well, I don't believe that. I saw someone that said that the provision which they're lobbying for is a sign of tokenism. I don't think so.
No, but you yourself,
I would prefer. What I hate
that it should go through the party leaders. They should agree to this, and then they should put it forward instead of the legal system. I call it through the back door, because how are you going to create 14 constituencies out of 52 that we already have?
I mean, what I was made to understand is that they will be based on regions. So if it's 14, then in each region, we have our 8 or 7. Each region will be 2 each. So in 2 each, they will compete among themselves, women, for them to have, that will represent them. Like, for instance, North Bank Division will have 2 candidates that will have 2 seats that will represent women in the National Assembly. You got me?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I just think we should have a bigger debate about this, and people should agree to
well,
because for once I'm not sure how they're going to choose the regions, and if it is going to be temporal, then that might be a solution, a temporal solution.
It looks as if it's not gonna be temporal, unless I haven't read the bit yet. But what I understand is they want to make it something whereby we have a National Assembly where women will be represented,
Yeah, so eventually we will have more women because the
well, I mean, when you look at, I think
already.
I think
let me
yes.
Yeah, the 52 seats that we have, if the women are allowed to contest that one as well, and they have 14 more, eventually, as time goes on, as more women come into politics, we will have more women, you know, in parliament than and the problem is, I think that we have to look at, when things like this happen, we have to look at the root cause of this issue. You know, we don't have a women education problem in our country. Women have always had, you know, ample time, ample chances in our country. Someone like where I come from, Yamina, my grandfather, for instance, did put women in school almost the same time as men, and they went to some of them went to higher education, and it's been all over the country. As you said, you have attorney generals have been women for decades now. Chief Justice, the judges in the Supreme Court, we have a lot of women there, and you know, parliamentarians, we have so many. We have, I mean, in permanent secretaries, we have a lot of women there. You know, so I think the problem is politics. Women don't want to go into politics for reasons I don't understand. Educated women, I keep on talking to women all the time, trying to convince them to come and join UDP, for instance. Most of them, especially the feminists, most of them, what they said, we're not into politics. So you're not into politics, you don't want to talk about politics, you don't want to take sides, but you are always going to try and get positions into our parliament. How are you going to do that? I mean, I think it's like through the back door, because you don't want to take sides, you don't want, you know, to be on the losing part. You always want to be, you know, whoever wins, they can appoint you and give you jobs. I mean, I think we have to blame the women, for instance, in this instance. We have to encourage them. We have to let them go through the party leaders, so that the party executive, the parties, so that the parties can agree that we are going to have this amount of women in you know, this year. Like the UDP, what we did is honorable, but we should translate that also into National Assembly seats, not only the executive, but National Assembly seats. It looks like when it comes to executive, when it comes to that's ministerial positions, our women they like that. But when it comes to politics, you know, being in the National Assembly, where you have to fight, you know, with whatever, with men, with women, other women, so that you can get voted, they are reluctant to join. Don't you think that's what the problem lies, Mr. Goswell?
Well, I think the first thing is that we should stop patronizing women. And I'll give you an example. 2 weeks ago, President Barrow said he's going to give female civil servants the right to leave very early, to go and cook for their husbands, or to cook dinner. You see, that gives an impression that we want women to be confined to certain areas. I mean, you need to empower women, and you need to encourage women. And we don't encourage them because of so much traditions that we adopt. Oh, I'm going to do a political rally. So much so much politics. You understand? It's evident that we have a system where we have a male-dominated society, whereby when a female says to you that she's involved in politics, your marriage could be at risk, because they think that
I've never had that.
Well, I mean, I don't want to give examples. I know people that suffered because of being so engrossed with partisan politics.
Come on, give us one.
No, I'm not going to give you an example. That's very personal. I'm going to tell you that's very confidential. I'm telling you, I've known scenarios where wives have been kicked out of their house because they've been so involved in party politics. And it's because of the male domination. Yes, it happens.
Why? Do you think their husbands think they're going to...
No, it's not. I think you don't understand. What happened is this male-dominated society that we have. And now we have the Women's Act. We have all these rights that have Convention for the Rights of Women. All are now in abundance, that women have got the right to participate in politics. In the past, it was something you hear of. Now, would you believe in 1992, the last first Republic Parliament that we had few women, if not more than 4, women in a parliament of 36.
Yeah.
Plus 5 district chiefs. And then when you go into the chieftaincy, not one female was made a district chief.
Yeah.
So you have all that with all you start talking about women's rights, and you never give them that opportunity for them to take control. Now you tell me now whether we've had a district chief as a female in the Gambia. And we're coming towards 57 years of independence.
No, but what about if the women don't throw their
No, we do not. We have this problem. We have this problem with what we perceive women as. You know, it's just typical.
But
nice to say yen jigeni, japalenyo, dimalenyo. But when it comes to with regards to empowerment, we have a problem. Banjul especially, last mayoral election, 2 females stood up and contested.
Yeah.
But it was a huge battle.
Yeah.
Man jigen duma ilif. Man amul jigen duma ilif.
But they won.
Yeah.
One of them won.
And when you look at the votes, you combine their votes, it was quite huge.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have some few loud mouths who will go around and say women are like that. But generally, people will vote for them. So I think it's a matter of encouraging them to come out and stand. Because during the National Assembly, let me just finish. During the National Assembly that we last had, National Assembly election, how many women contested for positions before to stand for UDP? Do you know?
Well, from my statistics, around 7. I know that UDP had Fatu. I know for the National Assembly, very few women contested and lost. I know Fatu Matajawara and somebody else in the rural areas contested and lost. But when it came to the councillors election, we had more women than ever before. And that was even reflected in the elections of we had more women as councillors than ever before.
Yeah.
And that was
it's coming up. We can't just
coming up because in Banjul we had Binta Kaba, Jaite Kaba, Binta Jaite at what you call this place called Tubakuru. She won, and she had a resounding victory.
Exactly.
We had one. We won 1 seat in Bakau. We won 2 seats in Bakau. One of them was a female as well. We won other seats in Serakunda.
Yeah, I am aware of that. Yeah.
Yes. So we're making inroads in that area.
Yeah, and even the KMC contestant, one of them was supposed to be a woman.
Yes.
Yeah, one of them who was supposed to go against Mayor Bensouda was supposed to be a woman. You know, Farsad.
Yeah,
one in our group.
Yes.
Yeah, she was going to contest, but because he had to withdraw last minute because of personal reasons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's coming up. I don't think we should push. I think we probably should have had one of the women who were advocating this, who were pushing this agenda. I think Toma Njai, you know, maybe we'll try and invite her so that she can come next.
Yes, I know. Yes, I think that'd be a good idea to bring her for to explain the rationale behind this. But when you look at it, this couldn't. If the draft constitution went through the second reading and got to the third reading, we wouldn't have questioned or advocated for the need for women to be given a percentage or a preferential treatment in National Assembly.
No, but even the draft constitution, to be fair, you know, that part where they're talking about giving women more seats, I think it's a little bit controversial. And if you ask them, they couldn't understand. I'm surprised it's only people like me who pick that up. It's the same with the youth. They are saying we should give youth more seats as well. And when you ask them, what do you think a youth is? How old do you think a youth is? You know, it's a problem. You know, so they're trying to tinker with our democracies to such an extent that many people will be reluctant to go into politics. You know, I think they should just let this social engineering just let it go. You know, it should encourage people. It's coming up. As you said, in the National Assembly, local elections, local government elections, you know, people are picking it up. And that's what democracy is about. It's gradual. This is the first time we have a multi-party democracy in full-fledged democracy, after dictatorship. So they should just let people relax and encourage people to come. Eventually, the National Assembly will be full of women, but they cannot just push it, social engineer it to such an extent that it's going to reflect in other ways. People will lose interest in politics because they think it's for the mediocre, and what about the right of Christians? What about the right of disabled people?
Well,
have more of those people. Should they also create their own constituency then?
Well, I think let's be very rational with this. No, what we're talking about is to encourage women to participate in politics. And we're giving them the opportunity to take part in the process. There's this belief that women are not encouraged to participate. Somewhere along the lines, they are being disadvantaged. And as a result of that, they want to encourage them. Let's go ahead with it. And let's see how let's hope that it works. I mean, I know what you're saying, but the way I do not agree with you is that we have to come up with something which will make our democracy enhance.
Yeah, but there are many ways to come up with things like this.
Well, yes. These are one of the ways. It's not.
Yeah, and this one, I don't think this is the way to go about it.
Well, I mean, that's a matter of opinion, and I respect your opinion on it.
Yeah, and some people are speaking up, and I don't think we should just because it's a way across it. We should have debated it before they put it in.
Well, I mean, the problem is, Keja, this is a bill. This has not been approved yet. It's going to go through Parliament. They're going to debate it.
Yeah, but it's going to be thrown out or approved, and the way they're trying to push it around, trying to show who is in support of it and who is not, and trying to make it as a feminist agenda. That's not the way to go.
Well, that's the problem. We have to be very careful of it because the problem.
So because of that, people are reluctant to speak. But I'm not going to be reluctant to speak out. I think the way forward, the way to go about this is they should have put it forward put it forward as a proposal. These are the ways. These are the things we want to go. We have a bill. We encourage party leaders, and then we encourage our women, and then we make it a debate. We talk about it instead of just trying to push it through.
Well,
and without debate, without any tolerance about it. If you go against it, you must be anti-feminist. I mean, I think that's not the way to go about this. They should allow the debate to go on well before they push it as a bill. Anyway,
I'll have to argue this. I have to disagree on this one because what I feel is that we would have able to solve this one better if the draft bill wasn't thrown out. So now we have to take this measure and see where we go with it.
Yeah, I'm sure even the draft bill is not that great, but
well, the draft bill would have been a compromise, but we lost the chance. Some people thought the draft bill was to stop somebody. The draft bill was to enhance everybody. But some people misconstrued it, played politics with it, and this is what we have now. We don't have something in front of them now. Are you going to take it or not?
Absolutely. It's like
secondly, and personally, I will go for it. So the next time when we have a bill, we will learn that you don't play politics with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, okay. Let's see if we can move on since it's Ramadan and we have some other topics we can talk about. So hopefully next time we can if it's still ongoing, the debate is still ongoing. We will try.
But what we'll do next time, we'll bring two of them.
Yeah.
And if not, we have somebody who has a deferred view, and we will go through it and have a good debate on it. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So our next topic is going to be the TRRC and Fatu Bom Bensouda. I think I choose that specifically because it's I think it's important that the TRRC is seen to be very neutral and fair as possible. We have brought so many attorney generals and the debate was hot about their role. And Attorney General, I think Fat Bensouda came very early during the revolution, as they call it, during the coup d'etat, and she played a role in so many of the things that have come before the TRRC. And eventually, she went to The Hague to be the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, and that was a unique opportunity to talk about the issues that are at her home. Instead, every time she just ignores it, and even I've even seen BBC journalists and some other media houses, big media house journalists, asking her why she doesn't condemn the atrocities committed by Yahya Jammeh. And some people feel that because Yahya Jammeh was committing torture, it is under the purview of International Criminal Court. Why do you think the TRRC is reluctant to bring Fatou Bensouda? And is there anything we can do about it?
Well, I mean, I don't want to speculate on it. I mean, I think we got to understand that the TRRC mandate comes to an end very soon, the sit-ins. And secondly, there is this misconception that people are trying now to see this TRRC as an avenue to castigate lawyers, especially Attorney General, across the board. But the main thing people have to realize is that we're talking about people that were tortured, that were murdered, and people that have committed these crimes are now being let scot-free under the pretext of a so-called amnesty. Yes, some lawyers did not do what we expected them to deliver, but let's not be carried away. Let's not be distracted by the Attorney General's being brought forward, and we think that yes, it is the Attorney General's fault. It's not. I said to you last week that as a civil servant, at times you comply with what is before you and not try to play partisan politics. Now, I'm not holding brief for any of these lawyers.
Oh, yeah, you think it looks like you are.
I'm not holding brief for them. I'm just saying that, Keja, today you work in the Department of
But they are not civil servants. They are attorney generals. They are politicians.
Hold on, I'm not finished yet. These people, I would say, if you'd come straight from the streets as an attorney, being appointed as an attorney general,
okay,
then I have an issue with you. But if you were in the system as a civil servant going through the ropes, you used to the business of you do what you don't, there's no such thing as partisan politics. That's a different case.
No, but the difference is if you like Ami Bensouda, we can understand that she had no choice because that one was removed on ceremoniously on day one. But with Fat Bensouda is a total different story. Right?
But Fat Bensouda was a civil servant.
They appoint you. Eventually, when the other person is removed unceremoniously and nobody's there, then you can be there temporarily, just like Ami Bensouda. But in her case, she was appointed and she accepted the appointment letter. And that was when they removed the other person. And what about her role in the ICC? Why couldn't she talk about it? Why was she defending that there was no human rights abuse? Some people are saying that if she comes before the TRRC, she's probably going to be worse than Fatima Singate, because she's going to probably say she doesn't see anything wrong with what Jammeh was doing. So it's not a matter of bringing the lawyers in. They were going into institutional hearings. We heard from the NIA, and then we heard from the military at some point. We heard from the police as well. So it was time for the lawyers as well to come. Because those are the institutions that play the biggest role in perpetuating terror and human rights abuse against our people. They were being used. So instead of bringing people like Mboj in, you should have brought Fat Bensouda.
Okay, that's a point, but that's something which neither me or you can comment on. That's something which the best person to answer that will be the TRRC as to who they subpoena.
Don't you think we should bring one
in
of
all
them
fairness,
here,
I would like to hear her version of things. What I'm trying to say is, yes, some of us are disappointed with the lawyers, but we must not be distracted that other people killed people, tortured people. And the more we're saying this now, people are trying to change the story around to think that, oh, it's the lawyer's fault.
No, they play their part.
Yeah, I think, Keja, that's the biggest thing. We need to be very careful of it.
Yeah.
People are now trying to turn the tables around. People are trying to turn the tables around. People are not talking about the junglers. People are not talking about the Edward Singh.
Talk about the junglers, and there's nothing wrong with
they're not talking about it now. All they're talking about is the lawyers.
It's their time now to talk about the lawyers.
Yes, but the problem is it's not about that. Don't be distracted.
No, we're not going to be distracted.
But
we're not going to leave like any stone unturned to get to
the bottom of this. But Keja, what we say in wall of gas buki, shul buki. You understand?
No.
We have to be very careful.
People
have to be very careful how we go.
We move on very often, very, very fast. So when we talk about the junglers, it was the junglers' time. When we talk about NIA, it was the NIA time. Now it's the lawyers' time. Let the people talk. And let people request for. Let people say, why are you not bringing this person in? I think that's fair enough. Just because you are a lawyer doesn't mean that we shouldn't talk about lawyers.
No, the problem is I'm not saying that because I'm not saying that we can't talk about lawyers. What I'm saying is let's not be distracted.
No, we're not going to be distracted.
Because the problem is when you talk
to the lawyers have the shortest span.
Yes, when you talk about the victims of April 10 and 11, you bring those kids. They're not going to talk about the lawyers. They will say that it's this man that shot me.
Of course. Yeah, and we did talk about that.
So I'm not saying. All I'm saying is
like numbers.
All I'm saying is we just need to be mindful.
But we also know that UDP executive was also unlawfully incarcerated using the courts and the lawyers in the AG's chambers. So
yes, I know what you're trying to say.
As well.
I think I know what you're trying to say. What I need to put across you is this.
Yeah.
The legal profession
play their part in perpetuating
contributed to some of it.
Country.
But when you look at the proportion of it, it will be proportionate if we try to put too much blame on them.
No. I don't think that's right either.
But the problem is, I'm saying this because some lawyers were caught in the middle of the fire. And they had to do what they were told to do.
Yeah, and we understand that.
Yes. You see? What we fail to understand is this. When Yahya Jammeh was setting up the junglers, he had no legal advice on it, did he? Nobody knew about the junglers. The junglers were killing indiscriminately.
Yeah.
Yeah?
No, we're not saying lawyers are supposed to be blamed for everything.
They
have their part to play, and we have all right to know what part they play. Fatou Bensouda is the issue here, not the lawyers. When people are trying to blame all the lawyers, I think some of them came. Chorna Marina came, people applauded him. And most people came, people applauded them. Even Bush, people applauded him. But people like Fafam Bay, Fatou Bensouda, Juf, those people we have all right to blame them. And those are the three that I know about. And we say, it is Fafam Bay, Juf, and the other one, what's it called again? Fatima. Those are the three that the lawyers that people are talking about. And the fourth person that people want to talk to here is Fatou Bensouda. So there's nothing wrong with that. They just 4 out of how many lawyers? Mr. Tal came, people applauded him. So I don't think you're being fair to the people here.
No, I'm not. With the point of correction,
yeah,
I am one of the first people that I know of that when they had a meeting here, when we had an interview with Baba Gale, I talked about institutional reforms. I did not know that institutional reforms was ever going to be part of the agenda. Yeah. And I welcome the idea that we have.
Maybe you didn't know it was lawyers.
No, but the problem is how now that you've seen what happened with all the lawyers and everything.
Yeah.
What recommendations are you going to give?
Yeah.
What recommendations can TRRC give?
About the law, the legal part.
Yeah, what recommendations can they give?
No, I think what one of the things that came out was the fact that, as you said, one first thing you said was that the Attorney General should be apolitical. That is one of the things that they should look at. Yeah.
Yes.
And the other thing I think that came out very, very starkly was the independence of the DPP office. You know, the DPP, the Director of Public Prosecution was established as an independent office in the Constitution. So there was no way, there was no need for Fatima Singate to ask the DPP to bring the cases before her so that she could scrutinize them. You know, she should let them do their job because the DPP office should not be political at all. It is supposed to be a professional office that they are supposed to be able to go after the politicians as well. But under the present conditions, under what we had in Yaya Jammeh, the DPP's office is very much political. It looks like Barrow can get up and say, go after Yakumba Jete, and they will go after Yakumba Jete, you know, and try to prosecute her. I think this is a very, very serious institution reform that we need. And it's only through debate that we can go through, we can talk about this. You know, we should have the independent DPP office, totally independent from politics. He should be a civil servant who is confident and to go after whoever he wants, and not to go after whoever he wants, not based on the whims and caprices of someone in the State House. So I think that's one of the biggest reforms that we can do in our constitution. Don't you agree, Mr. Gomez, Mr. Goswell?
Kejao, I am on record of saying that the formula that we have in South Africa should be adopted in the Gambia.
Yeah.
We should instead of having,
or even in UK.
No, I'm coming. 1 minute. Let me explain. We call it the National Prosecution Agency, as we saw in South Africa. Now, you got to understand that what you see in England now, the CPS, it was up to 1985. It was the same system that we had in Gambia. Up to 1985, they changed it. So what we're experiencing now in the Gambia is the legacy of colonialism, because it used to be called Crown Office. Yeah?
Yeah.
It used to be called Crown Office. So they've changed the system whereby they've changed the system as compared to what we have at the moment in the Gambia. Now, what used to happen in England is what is happening now in the Gambia. South Africa has changed. I understand Kenya have also changed their system. I see no reason why we cannot change our system. But we cannot change our system when we had a constitution, a draft constitution that we torn down. So that's the problem now. You need a UDP government. What we'll have to do is that at its first sittings, it will have to amend the constitution, provide for this Office of the Director of Public Prosecution to be an arm's length body of the government, like an agency, and whereby prosecutions will not be based on political sentiments, but more on the merits of the case.
Absolutely.
That is what we should be advocating for. And if TRRC makes that recommendation, and if, I hope not, the Barrow government, the Barrow contingent will, it's a question of them whether they want to adopt the new recommendations or whether they want to leave it as it is. There's the growing belief that they will want to leave it as it is because it's in their favor.
Yeah.
So any government that comes after the 4th of December should be very sincere about reforms. We have to accept that we made a mistake thinking that we had system change when we only had regime change. Systems have to be changed, and systems will only change if we show the goodwill, doing all these structural changes. Because I do not believe that the current Office of the Direct Public Prosecution is function as the way it should be.
Thank you.
Look at the case of 3 years Jotna.
Yeah, exactly.
You lost a case. You tried to arrest them and recharge them. And then once the case started, you file a motion of no prosecute.
Yeah.
That shouldn't have happened. That was an abuse of process.
Yeah. And
because they had no evidence. They should have
not
appealed. What they should have done, they should have appealed against the order.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You don't go start saying you're charging them again. Appeal against the order.
Exactly.
But when they knew that they lost the no case submission, they try to charge them again.
Exactly.
The same offense. And this auto for acquit and auto for discharge, a Latin phrase, that only appear, they've just changed that law in England. They haven't changed that law in Gambia.
Yeah.
So if anybody is being acquitted of a crime, you cannot just go around and charge him again with the same offense.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's in England that happened in the case of the Stephen Lawrence case and all that stuff, whereby they had to charge them again because they had fresh evidence. But in England, in Gambia, you can't do that. You have to appeal.
Yeah. No,
so
they
that
can.
was an abuse of process.
They can when they have fresh evidence, like any other jurisdiction.
Yes.
But otherwise, it's going to be double jeopardy, and
yes,
it's wrong. So so you see, this is the reason why we needed the lawyers there, so that they can tell us certain things. So it was not witch hunting them. I mean, I think it was due process. Okay. I think we can move on and talk about. I think the third part. What was that? Sorry, let me just. I think I lost my bearing. So you can see that it was really important that we bring Fatou Bensouda and talk about these kind of issues.
Well, I mean that's out of my own hands to talk about. That's something which the TRRC should decide on. I mean, maybe
we all want SFL here next weekend. We can.
Well, I mean, you're more than welcome if you want to, but the problem is I can't dwell on that because that's out of my own purview. I can't say anything about it.
Yeah, I know he I don't know, he is very good friends with Fatou Bensouda, so that might be the problem.
Well, I mean, that's not an issue. I think the issue is I expect
about the Americans. We're talking about the Americans and their sanction of her. And Asa didn't like that. So
well, I mean that's what you. Well, I mean these are all what people talk about, and not
people talk about. It was me. I know Asa. Asa is my friend, so maybe I shouldn't talk about certain things in public. But yeah, I mean I can tell you that he didn't like that.
Well,
and I was asking him. Are you on Facebook? How do you see my posts? Anyway, moving on. Gambia security quickly. We've seen what I think we probably wouldn't have a lot of time to talk about since we have about 30 minutes before Ndogu. But let's talk about it quickly. We probably can talk about the Barrow's Gulf Force. I think that's the one before Gambia security issue. So you all heard what Barrow said last time, Mr. Goswell. He said for NPP it's a do or die, and I think some people have taken that. I am one of the people who think people have taken that out of context, and they have indeed tried to prosecute Mr. Adama Barrow. I'm not a fan of him, as you know, and I think he should watch what he says as a public office holder. The president of the republic, people take what you say very, very important. The same thing when about Adama, what's he called again? About Hamad Bah, who has made so many gaffes that they shouldn't be making. But this personal thing, I think what he's trying to say is, if NPP loses, they are going to die. That's going to be the end. What is your take on that? Do you think NPP will leave next elections?
I'm not. As I said, I told people that we should be focusing on trying to make sure that NPP becomes history.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what by doing so is to not to give relevance to what he says.
Yeah.
To let him expose.
Well, unfortunately, people are, so we need to talk about it.
But let me explain. But to make him expose himself, because the whole world are watching. when we had an election last year, it reached a stage until we had an impasse. People start leaving the country. Exactly. Now, if you start using words like debt and all that stuff, then you haven't learned your lesson. Yeah. When we had an impasse, when people start leaving the country. If you're talking about debt, creates fear and it creates despair, and people could do things which are unorthodox. Absolutely. Now, the other thing you have bear in mind is that you have young youths that are following you, and if you make such statements, they could be influenced by it. Yeah. And when you're influenced by it, you cannot control them, then it's a panacea for disaster. Mm-hmm. So all politicians should be mindful of what they say at this critical time of our politicking. Mm-hmm. And there's no need for us to water down certain statements which are very offensive.
Yeah, but what do you think this meant?
Well, I mean,
he meant when he said, do or die for NPP.
It's just like when we say in Wall of Paranenche Day, Paranenyo Day, Sapuli. And that's a sign of being desperate and a sign that you are ready to do anything.
Yeah, that's your opinion. Yeah, yes. I think if that's what he said, I'm not sure what language he was speaking.
Well, he said it, but when you give it the interpretation,
yeah,
you give it the interpretation and the sort of phraseology. It's saying in Paranenche Day.
Yeah.
And that is not a statement you expect from a person that's responsible for 2 million.
Well, that's different from do or die for the party.
Well, he shouldn't have, look, Adama Barrow shouldn't use those words, full stop. And when he doesn't use those words, nobody will use those words. Yeah. Then now he uses those words, somebody will say the same thing. Kofi wa Mokondikawa. And then you can't blame him for it. Okay. It's not a healthy choice of word to use at this time of the politicking. Hello?
Yeah, hello. Go ahead. Go
ahead.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's something healthy, and it's something which we should be working towards a peaceful general election, and not an election that could be violent. Yeah. And when you start saying the state making using such words, you open problem for you. We all saw what happened in 1996 when UDP came into the scene. APRC could not accept it, UDP could not accept it, and then there was this push and pull. A lot of people got tortured, got beaten up, got injured. UDP supporters, because they call them troublemakers. Yeah. Now, with such statements from President Barrow, I only hope people that have got wisdom will give it less credit.
But what do you think he meant when he was saying that? I mean, what was his intention? Because that's important in law.
The intention,
I don't. He has criminal intent.
Well, I don't think there's it's an son to say he's the president of the Gambia, yeah, and I have to give him that respect. But it's not not something I would expect from him to say.
So you think he was negligent but not intentional?
Well, I don't know, but it's not something I would use.
Yeah, of course.
We'll have to.
Yeah, but if you are a prosecutor, will you charge him for criminal intent or negligence? Because I think that's very important. Because that way we can understand how to prepare for him.
Anybody. One thing is he hasn't incited anybody.
Exactly.
But he's just said what he meant to them. So losing this election.
Negligent.
Yes. You know, somebody could, God forbid, Barrow could lose election on somebody there, Bugumarus, Made Morgan. Yeah. And that's what he said.
Yeah.
And commit suicide. It happens.
Yeah. Commit suicide?
It could happen. Yeah, I'm just giving you a scenario, yes. Because that's what he's saying.
Yeah. We'd rather die than what they quoted was his party.
He said we'd rather die and live in shame.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah. He said he meant his party, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's very controversial. He should come out and clear the air. And that's the last thing I expect from him.
Mr. Silla tried to clear the air, but I don't think he was clear on it.
What did he say? What did Mr. Silla say?
Well, I just had a bit of it on the newspaper and was saying that Barrow has been misconstrued and all that stuff. It's not something that Barrow should say full stop.
Yeah.
We regret what our president said. He never meant that. Blah, blah, blah. That's a full stop. Move on. Be humble. You know, it could be a slip of the tongue. That's it.
Very unfortunate. I mean, if it is intentional, it's very worrying. Well, and we have to be mindful of that. We don't want to excite.
The problem is, I am not a fan of 3 years Jotna, but I respect their right to peaceful demonstration.
Yeah.
And we also what happened at Stink Corner when they had a peaceful demonstration and people went and disrupted it.
Yeah.
And these are things that we have to bear in mind. That we come towards election time, we want a peaceful election.
Yeah.
I just read from somewhere where we call Mamadou Sawali has been advised not to go to Gambia.
Really?
Yes. See, these are things we have to be very careful of.
I was threatening him.
Yes. Yeah. They started already. Yeah.
Just like Jammeh's time, they were telling the coalition and the opposition, don't step your foot in Fonyi.
Well, yes. We also what they did to Lamin Wajuara in 1998 or 1999 when there was a conference organized by the UNDP. Lamin Wajuara was to represent UDP, and July 22nd supporters went there and escorted him out of LRR.
Yeah.
Disrupted the meeting and escorted Lamin Wajuara out of LRR. See?
Yeah.
So these are the dangers of making statements. Political leaders should be very careful. I mean, I haven't heard Mr. Dawa made any statement of such nature since in his 25 years as leading UDP. I've never had him make any statements of that. And
because he's mature.
I'm just saying it, and you have Halifa Salah as well. I've never said anything like that. You have they never say that. So I don't know why our president had to make such remarks.
I think it's lack of education, if you ask me.
Well, I mean, it's not. I think sometimes when you're in politics for some time, you get
on course. He's on course, on culture.
Well, I will not use that word on culture. No, none of those are appropriate for my vocabulary. I think
on course.
There was a time when we all said Barrow was our Barrow, and unfortunately,
he was our Barrow until he started being on course.
Well, I mean, that's it. You see, there was a time when we all used to say Barrow is our Barrow.
Yes, no, Barrow. Me was my Barrow until after 3 years. Yes. And then I said, no, now it's enough. I've given what, because I think that's what gentlemanly is. You have to respect what you say. We put him forward, and supported him, and until after 3 years. After that, I told him, I said, after 3 years, I'm withdrawing my support. And that's what I did. And there's nothing wrong with that, because you cannot put a candidate forward, even if he's, when he's doing wrong, then we'll come out and tell him, Barrow, you shouldn't do that, even then. But, now that after 3 years, that was the agreement I had with him. After 3 years, I said, yeah, this is enough. I'm withdrawing my support now. You have to find other people to support you, and that's what he did. So I think that's unfortunate, and he probably should come out. But I don't think if we invite him on this forum, he's going to come.
Good luck with having him on. Good luck.
So since he doesn't like,
can't come here. Go say it's a UDP. He will call it a UDP forum, and then people will come inside and insult him. That's it.
Yeah, that's where the problem lies. Okay. So moving on, diversity and belonging in the UDP. I think we have very little time, and then we can talk about security.
Well, I mean, whether we like it or not, it's a shame that we are victim of false publication and propaganda.
Yeah.
The United Democratic Party is one of the most diverse political parties in the Gambia.
Who do you think did that? Was it the Ajame?
Precisely. He knew that we had a currency, and he tried to devalue it and replace the currency with something called tribalism.
Yeah, but I've even seen people talking about don't try to divide our country and to to do certain things.
Well, yes. I mean, you see, the problem is I'm not gonna. Kejao, I'm not gonna get involved with Doy business here. All I'm saying, I'm giving you the historical background.
Okay.
We went on an election in 1996. Yeah. He was very scared about the support the UDP had, and all he could do is just to use an ethnic group as his trump card and use it, continued using it up to 2016.
Yeah, and that it was in 2016 when he intensified it.
He used it, and some people fall for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Some
educated why do you think people will fall for that? Is it?
Well, I mean, the problem is, when the scaremongering.
Yeah.
When it happens, if you don't have the independent mind, and you don't, and if you're a bit naive, you end up not realizing that this was all propaganda. Because for me to have someone to tell me, oh, Lee Party is Sosela, or ni Bugun Christian, or ni Lilele, you understand? When by saying that Bugun Christian, no Christian wants to go there, oh, Party Sosela. I love it, I only uti party, ni Sosela. And that's where the scaremongering starts.
Yeah.
You need to have a thick skin and you need to be very resolute in what you believe to be UDP.
But can you imagine all from all the people is Yaya Jammeh who started.
And what makes it more worse is that you cannot say UDP is tribalist when UDP, not all Mandikas were voting for UDP, they were voting for APRC.
Exactly.
And looking at another way, UDP it's only in 2017 that we started scoring 1,000 votes in Fonyi. The highest we used to score was 226.
Yeah.
Shingul
Yeah.
Shingul had 226 votes in a parliamentary election. Nobody was ready to contest for UDP. Very fearful, Nobody will.
Absolutely.
So who is tribalist?
Exactly. Yeah.
And when you look at UDP's setup, you look at the executives that we've had over the years, very balanced executive.
Yeah. Even more balanced today than.
And when the first executive we had in 1996, 97, yes, and in 98, most of them were from the greater Banjul area.
Yeah.
And when you say that party is tribalist,
exactly.
Ibu Mane, Amadou Tal, Aja Sukainaka,
the present
Yamunda Uyabo, Aji Yamseka, Mariam Jack. These are not Mandinkas. Femi Peters, Shingul Nyasi, Yaya Jallo. In one political party, and you say that party is Mandinka, it's a tribalist party.
Yeah.
How many times do we have to tell them that Luch is not tribalist?
Yeah, it's unfair. So we have belongings. You're saying we have belonging in UDP. People, other people feel belong to, in this party. And
no, what I'm telling you is it has a proper good history of diversity.
Yeah.
And that is what our foot soldiers should be selling to the people.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what we're trying to sell here. And when I talk to people, still some of them will still say, it's a tribalist party, and it's so easy now for to debunk that. But the problem is even educated people, will tell you no, it's still tribalist. I don't know why. But we have to keep banging on the door and making.
No, the problem is, MK, I keep telling people is that we allow people to dictate the narrative.
Yeah.
And that's what annoys me.
Absolutely.
Because when you look at, as I've given you names now, and these are names that I've just known, there are other people that have joined over the years. They were in the executive. Absolutely. They were not Mandinkas.
Yeah.
And what makes you believe, oh, this is a Mandinka base, just because Osoro Dabo is a Mandinka? What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
And then when you have all the followers, all the people that make in the decision-making process, all of them are Banjulians, Wolofs, Creoles. And then you still bring in that negative politics. It hurts me.
Absolutely.
But we have our people. Our own people should take some responsibility. We're not selling our diversity card. We have the best. We should be out there telling people that stop this negativity that you're saying. We could have put a Mandinka in Banjul. We got so many of them in Tobacco and said, be a mayoral candidate. Yeah. We could have put a Mandinka in KFC, Bakau or somewhere else and say, yes, go for it. But we didn't.
Absolutely.
People didn't vote for that because we don't play the politics on tribal lines. But people still get away with it.
Yeah.
Because our own supporters are not selling the party's product.
Well, how do you think we sell that? I mean, this is one of the ways that.
Well, the problem is, I only hope the leadership are listening.
Yeah, the leadership is taking the bull by.
I hope they listen to
you. During the Congress here, they even started speaking, other languages like Wolof.
No, but the problem is, I only hope
they're encouraging diversity. Sorry?
I only listen to what we're discussing today.
Yeah.
That they should not allow any party to steal their record on diversity.
Absolutely.
Because we can challenge any of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good message that we can challenge anybody. We shouldn't allow anybody to.
Yes.
Because I don't think there's any party in the Gambia that is more diverse than
I'm not. We can challenge them because the problem is the negativity which has been associated with this party is something that we can challenge them on.
Yeah.
If you want to be the leader of the party, come and contest.
Absolutely.
If you think that UDP is come and join. Don't join the party because you want something. Join it, bring in something into the party.
Absolutely.
Like what Olidiwa said. She's bringing something into the party. And many others have joined to bring in something to the party. Yeah. Don't join the party because you think that it's an opportunity to enhance you personally. No.
Yeah.
I've not joined UDP for that. My dream is for them to win office.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. And you're doing a great job of it here. I'm
doing little, and I'm doing my very little that I can't do at the moment. So others can do. I think I can do more than what I'm doing now, but it's a matter of circumstances, and that's God's will. But the problem is, I don't think I'll sit here and allow people to start using drumming in our ear. Oh, party buba. And I said, where is the evidence? Give me evidence. And you can't substantiate it.
But I think they said the same thing too about PPP too when it started initially.
Well, I mean, this is the problem. They say the same thing.
Yeah. And eventually,
the problem is for them to come on board, you're scared to come on board.
Yeah.
Come on board, you're not ready to come on board, but you're ready to start saying, oh, this party is this party is that.
So what about if they say the party leader is not very inclusive? He's
well, I mean,
Mandinkas and he speaks not only Mandinka at home but also Wolof, and the wives are more tribe.
You see, Kejao, it's a shame. This is a UDP program. You understand?
Yeah, absolutely.
Him, I have known this man.
But I'm just saying what they say.
I've known this man for over 30 years, 37 years. You understand?
Yeah.
And I've never seen someone so diverse as him, so tolerant, so respectful. And it's a shame I have to say it here, and people think that I'm trying to blow his trumpet. No, I'm not. I'm saying what I've experienced over the years. I was a court clerk in the 80s, late 80s when I finished school. I remember when he used to come to court. Gentleman, very nice man, very respectful to everybody. I mean, I'm made to understand two of his wives were Wolofs.
Yeah.
I mean, I know one of the wives very well. I know the other one I know vaguely. But they're very nice people.
Yeah, I think one is Wolof, one is Lola or something. Yeah.
No, I don't know. I know, yes. And then probably I went with some, it doesn't matter to me. And then second, I went to school, one of his cousins. Yeah, that was we were in the same class.
Okay, I mean, one in the US.
What else can we say? He lived in Carnifin, where I grew up, he lived with his second wife. He's engaged with people. And what else do we want to say? Mr. Dabo represented throughout the Bojun 81 coup. He represented Christians, Mandinkas, Cholas, Fullers, all of them. At that time, Mr. Dabo was just only 33 years old.
Yeah.
Or less than that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think we can wrap up now. We had a very long hour, and it's Ramadan. Yeah, so you know, and if it's soon be iftar, I think we have about 10 to 15 minutes before iftar now. But we want to say thank you very much to our listeners. I think the number is increasing daily. Currently, we have about 85 people watching us live, and we are grateful to all of them. You know, we want to spread this message, and by the time we finish this program, it gets to over 1,000 and 2,000 viewers. So that's a great.
You see, I remember Pilos when they used to have their rallies, and there were a few people there. But now you see the now when people have a rally anywhere, a lot of people coming up to listen to what they're saying. So I mean, we will get there.
Yeah.
It's a long. We're not fighting anyone. We just want to give a different dimension because all the other airwaves have been doing very well, and it's nice for them to hear another version of what the party is all about.
Yeah.
Now we are not doing this in competition with any of the other airways, the Pantaba TV and all that stuff. We're not. We are doing it in conjunction with them because we think that this forum, or this way that we have, will enhance the party's fortune, will educate the people about what we stand for.
Yeah, your video is gone though. Your video is gone.
Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. And I think some of the readers, we can quickly read what they're saying. Musa Sedi is saying Mr. Dabo is a very sincere person. And Moro Jaune is, let me see, I think Marie Jones is saying, she's saying not true about what you, and that we are there. What they are saying, that they are still with the UDP from the start. So we appreciate that, Miss Jones. The diversity you can see.
Is it Mrs. Marie Jones?
Yeah.
Mrs. Marie Jones is one of those strong mayors, women within the UDP. Yeah, she's a model to us, and we are very grateful to notice that she's acknowledging what we're doing. We are very grateful for what she's. Yeah.
So she's just supporting what you're saying, that she was with the party from the start, and what they're talking about the tribalism and other things are not true at all. So okay, others are just a little bit greetings. It will be great to so yeah, thank you very much. Constructive discussion. So thank you very much, viewers. This is all we have for you today. So Lamin Kamara is saying, inshallah, Dawo will be elected as Gambia's first president come December elections. Okay, so thank you very much to our viewers. We are really grateful for you guys, and hope we could spread the message that we are speaking here, that we are a very diverse party, and we encourage diversity. We encourage other people to join in. Do not forget to bring people into UDP as much as you can, and take it as every opportunity. We should always be on the campaign trail, personal campaign trail, knock on people's doors. It's now COVID, and you cannot go around. I cannot go around Southampton and talk to people about UDP since we cannot meet. But at every opportunity, I see anybody online, you can talk to them and say, which party do you support? Do you support UDP? Why don't you? Most of them will say, I'm not into politics. So just say, can you give us your votes? So keep conversing and tell them, if they say, no, we don't support UDP, tell them, ask them why they don't support UDP. How can we make them support UDP? Because we need all hands on deck so that we can take the country back from Barrow and NPP. We've had too much of these irresponsible statements, and we are trying to make sure that we put the party into good hands. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hand it over to Mr. Goswell for the last word. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Kenya. This has been a very heated one. We have to agree to disagree on several issues, but that's the beauty of democracy and a constructive debate. I mean, it's always a pleasure to have you on this radio or whatever or this medium, and I am also proud that people are listening to what we're saying. I mean, as we said, we have plans now that Ramadan, in the last week of Ramadan, last weekend, come next week after our lady friends have recovered from Ramadan, we will be asking them to take over the show, and that will demonstrate that we are a diverse group that will tolerate other views, because you have the Olidibas, the Janaba Ba, I don't Janaba Jallo, and others, many others, Ramsi Diab, and all are supposed to come on this forum here and make their points clear so that we get elected. We're also looking at the female youths as well to come on board. Come, if you have a team that you want to discuss, speak to us and we'll arrange it and you take over the show. Yeah. As I say, it shouldn't be a male-dominated show all the time. We initiated it, but it's time for us to let it germinate and spread over. Now, there's not much I can say other than happy Eid to all my Muslim friends and relatives that are following this program. And I pray that you live long to celebrate many more Eids in Allah's name. Thank you and good night. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Good night, guys. Happy Eid Mubarak, everyone. Bye-bye.